This is Billionaires Row.
You've probably seen these buildings all over social media. Impossibly thin towers rising above New York City. Homes so exclusive, so expensive, that only the world's richest people can afford to live here.
Billionaires Row didn't just redefine luxury living. It sparked an entirely new kind of skyscraper. Today, these towers stand as extreme symbols of wealth, prestige, and engineering innovation. But there's something strange about them. They're also kind of empty.
Down on the streets below, finding an apartment for ordinary people is a completely different story. Ask almost anyone in New York, and you'll hear the same thing.
Housing here is broken.
So how did we end up with billion-dollar towers in the sky and a housing crisis on the ground? To understand that, you have to start here, Midtown Manhattan. This is where the modern skyscraper was born. And ever since, New York has been locked in a race to build higher, taller, and more impressive structures.
But along West 57th Street, that ambition reached a whole new level.
This is Billionaires Row, a stretch of ultra-luxury residential towers overlooking Central Park. There are no gates, no official borders. But the name refers to a cluster of buildings that have become some of the most expensive homes on Earth.
Here you'll find towers like 432 Park Avenue, 111 West 57th Street, Central Park Tower.
Each one pushing the limits of what's possible and what's profitable. Because in Manhattan, space is everything. If you want to build something valuable, you don't build wider, you build taller.
Developers spent years assembling tiny plots of land, then buying up air rights from neighboring buildings, effectively purchasing empty space in the sky, so they could build even higher without anything blocking their views of Central Park.
The result? A new breed of skyscraper. Super-slender towers.
In New York, a building is considered slender if its height is 7 times its width. But these towers go far beyond that. 111 West 57th Street, for example, is just 18 meters wide, yet rises 435 meters into the sky. That's a ratio of 1 to 24, making it one of the thinnest skyscrapers ever built. But building this thin comes with serious challenges. At those heights, wind becomes a major force. These buildings don't just stand still, they move. To keep them stable, engineers use massive concrete cores, structural reinforcements, and even giant tuned mass dampers. Huge weights near the top of the building that act like shock absorbers, counteracting the sway. Some towers even have open floors designed to let wind pass straight through them. It's cutting-edge engineering. But it hasn't all gone smoothly. Residents in some of these buildings have reported issues, from mechanical failures to unsettling noises caused by the building shifting in the wind. Because when you push architecture this far, problems can follow. Still, the logic behind these towers is simple. The higher you build, the more valuable each apartment becomes.
But there's a catch. These buildings don't have many apartments. In fact, some have just a few dozen units spread across dozens of floors.
That means each one has to be incredibly expensive to make the project worthwhile.
And that's exactly what they are. These apartments aren't just homes. They're assets. For many buyers, owning a unit here isn't about living in it.
It's about storing wealth, a safe physical investment, like owning a piece of art. And that changes everything. Apartments are no longer designed for everyday living. They're designed for privacy, security, and simplicity. Entire floors become single residences. Elevators open directly into living rooms. Shared spaces disappear. Even the unpredictability of neighbors is designed out. The goal is to make these properties behave less like homes and more like financial assets. Something that can be bought, held, and sold with minimal friction. And that helps explain why so many of them sit empty. Some units are still unsold. Others are owned by people who only visit a few times a year, or never at all. What emerges isn't just a collection of homes, but a new kind of urban object.
A skyline where architecture is shaped as much by finance as by living. And in that shift, and becomes something closer to a physical store of global wealth.